Governments, including many here in Asia, are racing to provide transport to evacuate their citizens from parts of the Middle East amid tensions over how Israel might respond to Iran's latest missile attack. Japan is the latest to send in military planes as it plans for a possible evacuation of its citizens out of Lebanon, with around 50 individuals currently in Lebanon. 2 Japanese self-defense force planes will stand by in Greece and Jordan for evacuation if the situation should worsen. Meanwhile, Australia is helping hundreds of its citizens leave Lebanon. Foreign Minister Penny Wong is urging people to get out as soon as possible. The government has secured around 580 seats on 2 flights for Australians who want to leave. The flights are set to depart from Cyprus this week. Some 1,700 Australians and their families say they want to leave Lebanon. On the ground, there has been no let-up in fighting. 15 Hezbollah fighters have been killed by the Israeli military in the south, while a strike in capital Beirut has killed at least 9 medical workers. Some reports say the building targeted in Beirut was a health authority center. That's a rescue facility affiliated with Hezbollah. The Israeli strike on the Lebanese capital hit just meters away from Lebanon's parliament. The latest attacks come after the IDF suffered its deadliest day on the Lebanese front in a year of fighting with the Iran-backed group. International efforts to quell tensions, meanwhile, do continue. Qatar's Emir is calling for serious efforts to reach a ceasefire. Speaking at the Asia Cooperation Dialogue Summit in Doha, he called for de-escalation in the wider region.
لقد أصبح واضحا وضوح الشمس أن ما يجري هو عمليات إبادة جماعية إضافة إلى تحويل قطاع غزة إلى منطقة غير صالحة للعيش الإنساني تمهيدا للتهجير.
And for more, Trent Murray joins us live from Tel Aviv. Trent, we're just talking about evacuations from out of the Middle East. Talk us through the broader, though, international response to what's going on there.
Well, I think much of this region and the world really is just holding its breath right now, awaiting what may happen next. Of course, that comes as Israel vows to retaliate strongly to that Iranian ballistic missile attack, which targeted the country on Tuesday. We know that security meetings are being held over these recent days, led by Benjamin Netanyahu, and a number of options are being looked at, including targeting oil and gas infrastructure inside of Iran in order to try and hurt their economy. We know President Biden made that statement to reporters earlier, saying the US is working closely with Israel on this, and it does support its right to defend itself. But he did stop short of saying the US would support any sort of attacks on its nuclear facilities amid fears that could really spiral this situation out of control with a wider war. We've seen a number of words of caution from a number of nations. The British UN ambassador has said Lebanon must not be turned into the next Gaza. The French have said dialogue is absolutely important rather than what we have now. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, despite that ban from the Israelis from entering the country here, put out a fresh statement overnight at the Security Council saying the flames that are currently smouldering in the Middle East must absolutely not turn into an inferno.
All right, not allow Lebanon to become an inferno or the next Gaza. What does that tell us about what's happening on the ground right now in terms of Israel versus Hezbollah in Lebanon?
Well, look, it's incredibly difficult. We were up in Lebanon last month, and even at that point in time, things were very, very difficult there. But now we've seen, of course, a major uptick in the amount of bombardments taking place, both in the Lebanese capital itself and also in that southern part of the country where we know there are Israeli boots on the ground several days after officially announcing that ground incursion. They say that they have taken some losses, as you mentioned there, and Hezbollah also says it is putting up a stiff resistance. And it's that backdrop which has just got so many nations worried now, trying to get their nationals out. It's very difficult, though, because no foreign carriers are now flying to Beirut International Airport, the only commercial airport in the country. It is entirely up to the national flag carrier, Middle East Airlines, to run these chartered services. And they, of course, are overbooked, which is why you are seeing more and more military aircraft being deployed to the region from as far afield as Australia and Japan, amongst others, in order to not just be there to try and get their citizens out, but to be on standby for a major evacuation should all-out war break out, and many of those foreign nationals could be in immediate danger of being killed.
Oh, thanks. Trent Murray reporting live from Tel Aviv.